as I make my way through Doctor Who's staple videos that I seemingly haven't even tried to cover before, I've decided to talk to you all today about my favourite TARDIS interiors. I mean, absolutely nobody asked, but I'm volunteering the information anyway because hey, why not? The TARDIS, being the Doctor's home, has had a variety of different looks over the years, but I'll not be just looking at the Doctor's TARDIS, but those of other Time Lords as well. We're not limiting down to one particular Time Lord, of course. So naturally, this is just my own opinion, and I'm always curious to hear your own. Over the next week, I'll be working on the How to Cosplay Series 10-12 Doctor video, so hopefully that will be out in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully. Anyway, without further ado, let's get to it. Number 10. The Master's TARDIS of the 80s. Now, the Master's TARDIS is essentially the dark carbon copy of the Doctor's. Yes, they just redressed the set, but black is an interesting look for it. I mean, yes, it does scream, "Dark Counterpart!" in large neon letters. I mean, it was the 80s, the same decade that gave birth to Venom, after all. But I think it's a cool alternative style, and it carries with it a fine layer of darkness to what is a pretty good set. We wouldn't see the Master's TARDIS again until Spyfall, where it took the appearance of a straight-up house, but I doubt that is the exact same TARDIS as this one, so this one wins, to be honest. Number 9. The 13th Doctor's TARDIS. Okay, so the Chibnall-era TARDIS is a mixed bag for me. It goes between glorious crystalline light show to not really my kind of thing, and it feels kind of cramped despite the fact that the set is quite clearly spacious. It is weird how that has happened. I will give it that it is certainly quite a unique design, and the TARDIS console itself is pretty damn cool. It does give me vibes that they tried to recapture the magic of the RTD-era TARDIS, which, while a good attempt, is not possible. Honestly, I probably like it a bit more if the crystals were a bit smaller and sleeker, but other than that, I can't help but commend the production effort, and it really does look immensely complicated, so fair play. Even if it doesn't personally vibe with me, I can still respect it. Number 8. The Rani's TARDIS, Mark of the Rani. Oh, I can't help but just enjoy this design. It carries the sense of elegance and class that you'd have come to expect from the Rani, but with that malicious edge. From the stone plinths, the modified console, it similarly went down the route the Masters did by going darker, but this worked a bit more. Some of the space does feel a bit empty around it though, but I still really quite like what they were going for with this particular set. It suited the Rani really well. Number 7. The 11th Doctor's first TARDIS. A great style in its own right, Matt Smith's first TARDIS was a bold evolution from the Tennant TARDIS, now becoming more of a whimsical and absolutely huge room, rather than the circular space that came before. Admittedly, while I did prefer the Tennant design, but giving credit where credit is due, this set is still pretty fancy. There is something about it that is quite steampunky about it, while having that Tim Burton-esque vibe and design, and that truly fits with the whole fairy tale style that the story of the 11th Doctor and the Ponds had. You could truly live in here, and there are so many bits of detail to embrace. Number 6. The 80s TARDIS. I like the 80s TARDIS. The combination of the roundels and the Greek aesthetic to the set design gave the room a futuristic yet ancient vibe, which is fitting for a timeless time machine. Definitely came to be the form that I associated the classic TARDIS with, and the one that I honestly really quite love. It is superb, and yet subtle at the same time. Number 5. The first Doctor's TARDIS. Oh, the one that started it all, and it deserves some respect without a doubt. The original TARDIS set was something that you could liken to a laboratory, while at the same time it was a marvel that something so large could be contained within something so small. It fit the alien nature of the first Doctor and Susan quite perfectly. The back of the TARDIS was more vast than later incarnations, clearly giving more detail to the systems of the ship and its operational functions. It really does feel so very 60s sci-fi and computery, and of course, it's littered with all those marvellous roundels which will never quite go away. Admittedly, I am a bit torn though, because there's 2 very good replications of the set, one seen in Adventure of Space and Time, and the other seen at the end of Hell Bent, but I'm not sure which is better. Sure, maybe one is more accurate than the other, but I don't know, they both look amazing. Do let me know in the comment section below which one that you prefer. Number 4. The 4th Doctor's secondary console room. Despite the fact that it was literally doomed by design, yeah, the bloody thing decided to fall apart between seasons, I really loved this console room. It made a great departure from the all-right nature of what had come before, and in turn became a proper room of sorts. It felt more homely, and that was a wonderful trait of this TARDIS. The console was hella small though, but it matters not. It's understated, lovingly crafted, and just perfectly acceptable all round. Definitely befitting of the 4th Doctor. Number 3. The TV Movie TARDIS. Oh my god, yes, just yes. And I am so sad we never got to see more of this interior on screen. It just looks glorious. It is without a doubt the TARDIS that set the stage for the new series interiors, and you can just tell it looks like a proper living room of a gothic mansion with a time machine shunted into the middle. And it suits Sylvester McCoy and Paul McGann's Doctors both so well, as they just both look like they belong in it. The console itself too is beautiful and elegant, and the room contains such respect for the Gallifreyan lore. It's just a perfect piece of design. If only we could have had more. Number 2. The late 11th Doctor stroke 12th Doctor TARDIS. After the loss of the Ponds, the Doctor switched to a more clinical TARDIS interior, but when he regenerated, that's where it really came into its own. It felt like a perfectly updated version of the classic era TARDIS, from the roundels, while taking hints from the 8th Doctor's TARDIS in terms of the lighting and the bookcases and the straight-up homely atmosphere that it possessed. I adore this interior. It looks sleek, stylish, and you could run around it for ages and never get bored. And I really do miss it. The orange lighting from the console too, it's simply divine. And finally, number 1. The 9th and 10th Doctor's TARDIS. Okay, I can't help it. I just love and adore this interior. It's wonderful in its mystery and scale. It was the perfect one to see the show brought back in. It feels chaotic, and that to me is a good thing. It's honestly just magnificent, especially with the lighting of the first 2 series, as it gives it this murky vibe, which makes it all the more curious. But honestly, it looks great brightly lit too. Maybe it's just the nostalgia talking, but this is indeed my favourite TARDIS interior of all. It's just sublime. Of course, I could go further than that and put my own TARDIS from the DW 2012 fan film at number 0, but of course that would be a case of extreme personal bias, and we won't be doing that today. Although I do love it. It is quite delightful. Anyway, that's my top 10 TARDIS interiors. What are your favourites? Do let me know in the comment section below. And until next time, see ya!